Hi everyone, welcome to my UK travel diary. This trip has been in my bucket list for such a long time and I'm finally so excited to share it with y'all. It wasn't just a holiday, it is about spending time with family and experiencing a completely different part of the world. And after several hours in the air, we finally arrived and we waited for something very special. My sister! No matter how beautiful a country is, nothing compares to seeing someone you love beautifully. And after that, we went to our apartment, which was going to be our home for the next several weeks. And honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better location. The next day, it was finally time to explore London. Our first stop was one of the places I've dreamed about seeing ever since I was a child. That's Tower Bridge. Pictures really don't do it justice. Standing here, looking up at the enormous towers, watching the river Thames flowing underneath, I kept thinking I'm actually here. For years, I've seen this bridge in movies, documentaries, and postcards. Now I'm walking across it. We spent quite a while around the area because there was just so much to see. And not far from there, we visited another one of the London's most recognizable landmarks, and that's Big Ben. Well, technically, Big Ben is actually the name of the Great Bell inside the Elizabeth Tower, but nowadays most people simply call the whole clock tower Big Ben. It looks exactly like it does in the photographs, but from here, you also get on the best views of another famous landmark, the London Eye. It has become such an important part of the London skyline that it's really hard to imagine the city without it. Ever since I was little, I've seen these voices in British movies and I always imagined what it would be like to sit on the upper deck. So of course I had to make it happen for me. And this was only the beginning of our adventure. Our next trip was something I had been looking forward for a very long time. We were living in mainland England and headed to the beautiful Isle of Wight. The Isle of Wight is located just off the south coast of England, and to get there, we took a ferry. One thing I thought was really cool was that we could actually drive our car straight on to the ferry. Once it was safely parked inside, we headed upstairs to enjoy the journey. I absolutely loved that part. Watching the coastline slowly disappear behind us, feeling the cool sea breeze, and looking out across the endless blue water was incredibly peaceful. Sometimes the best part of traveling isn't reaching the destination, it's simply enjoying the journey getting there. There were cafes inside the ferry where people were relaxing with a coffee or a meal while others stood outside taking in the views. We spent most of our time outside because the scenery was just too beautiful to miss. Before we knew it, we had arrived on the Isle of Wight. Our very first stop was one of the island's most famous landmarks, the Needles. If you've ever searched for the Isle of Wight, you have probably seen pictures of these incredible white chalk cliffs rising dramatically out of the sea. Despite the name, there are actually three large chalk stacks standing just offshore. They were originally part of the cliffs, but over thousands of years, the sea gradually eroded the rock and separated them from the mainland. Long ago, there were even a fourth rock shaped like a needle, which is how this landmark got its name. That original needle eventually collapsed into the sea, but the name has remained ever since. Seeing them in person was absolutely breathtaking. The bright white cliffs against the deep blue sea almost looked unreal. This island has such a different atmosphere from London. Everything feels lower, quieter, and much more relaxed. It's the kind of place where you naturally slow down and simply enjoy the surroundings. By the evening, we reached our hotel, checked in, and called it a day. Our destination this time was the lovely village of Godshill. Even before reaching the main attraction, the walk through the village became an experience all on its own. Both sides of the streets were lined with the cutest little shops I've ever seen. And honestly, my inner child completely took over. Every shop had something different: handmade gifts, tiny ornaments, beautiful decorations, locally made products, or traditional sweets, even bottles of locally produced spirits and liquors. Every few steps, I would stop and say, "Oh my goodness, look at this." If I had unlimited luggage space, I probably would have bought half the shops. No, actually, all of them. Everything looked so charming and genuinely didn't know where to look first. The whole village had such a charming and warm, welcoming atmosphere. It wasn't crowded or rushed. People were simply strolling around, browsing the little stores, chatting with the shop owners, and enjoying the peaceful surroundings. And finally, we reached one of the island's most popular attractions, Godshill Model Village. This place is honestly incredible. Imagine an entire English village but perfectly recreated on a miniature scale. Tiny cottages, tiny churches, tiny gardens, tiny bridges, tiny people. Everything is built with an unbelievable attention to detail. As you walk around, you almost feel like you have become a giant looking down at an entire little world. What amazed me most was how realistic everything looked. The miniature trees were carefully trimmed, the gardens were beautifully maintained, even the smallest detail had been thoughtfully created. It's one of those places where you notice something new every time you look. I probably spent more time taking videos than I actually walking because there was just so much to capture. Every corner looked adorable, every little house had its own personality, and every part led to another tiny surprise. It honestly felt like walking through the pages of a storybook. Unfortunately, our time on the island of Wight was quite short. We only stayed for a couple of days so we couldn't explore everything the island has to offer. But sometimes it's not about seeing every attraction, it's about enjoying the time you have, and we definitely did, with wonderful memories, beautiful views, and a camera full of videos. After a beautiful little escape to the Isle of Wight, we were back in London again. And this time, I wanted to explore something that is such a huge part of everyday life in the UK: the London Underground, or as everyone simply calls it, the Tube. First, it can definitely feel a little confusion. So many lines, so many stations, so many people working quickly as if they know exactly where they need to go. Honestly, it's confusing. Anyway, we went for another unique London experience, the IFS Cloud Cable Car, and honestly, I didn't expect to enjoy it this much. As soon as we started going higher, the views became amazing. The busy streets slowly disappeared below us, and suddenly we were looking at London from a completely different perspective. From up there, you can see the River Thames winding through the city, the buildings in the distance, and the huge scale of London. It was peaceful because everything felt slower. You're just sitting there, floating about the city, taking in the waves. It was a completely different way to experience London. After the cable car ride, we headed to the O2. The O2 is one of the London's most famous entertainment venues, originally built for the Millennium celebrations. Today, it is home for the concerts, restaurants, shopping, and many more different entertainment experiences. We spent some time there, enjoyed some food, walked around, and simply enjoyed the atmosphere. Next, we went to visit the garden at Wantavenin. Located in the heart of London's financial district, this rooftop garden offers one of the most beautiful free views of the city. And the best part, it is completely free to visit. Once you reach the top, you get an amazing view of London's skyline. You can see the mixture of old and new London, the historic buildings standing beside modern skyscrapers. Our next stop was Canary Wharf. If you have only seen the historic side of London so far, Canary Wharf feels like stepping onto a completely different city. Known as London's financial district, it's home to some of the tallest skyscrapers in the UK and the headquarters of many international companies. It was such a lovely experience sharing these moments with my parents, seeing their happiness while exploring a new place made it even more meaningful. Then we went to Bicester Village. Unfortunately, I didn't capture many videos here because I was too busy shopping. From there, we continued towards one of the most beautiful areas in England, the Cotswolds. And this place was absolutely magical. The Cotswolds is famous for its charming villages, rolling countryside, and beautiful hand-colored stone houses. The moment you arrive, it feels like you have entered a postcard. The small streets, the traditional cottages, the peaceful countryside views, everything looks so perfectly placed. Before visiting, I honestly thought these villages were mostly created for tourists. I imagined they were beautiful places people visited but nobody actually lived. But I was completely wrong. These are real villages, real people live here. They have their homes, their daily routines, and their normal lives among all this beauty. And I can imagine it must sometimes feel strange having so many tourists walking around their neighborhood every day. But at the same time, I can understand why people want to visit because it feels truly special. Just look at these views, it's amazing. Along the way, we discovered more of those adorable little shops, small gift shops, handmade items, cute decorations, local products. Every shop had its own personality. Once again, my inner child was extremely happy. I honestly wanted to buy everything. This village wasn't just beautiful because of the views, it was the feeling of the place. Slow, peaceful, simple, and completely different from the busy city life. After another amazing day exploring England, we continued our journey to our next destination, and that is Cardiff. Cardiff is the capital city of Wales, and even though our city was quite short, it was a beautiful experience. Our first stop was at the city's most famous landmarks, Cardiff Castle, located right in the heart of the city that has a history goes back almost 2,000 years. Unfortunately, I didn't record every single place we visited because sometimes I just wanted to put the camera down and enjoy the moment. After returning back to London, we were once again welcomed by our favorite venue, Wembley Stadium. On this particular day, there was a football match at Wembley Stadium. The entire area was filled with people. The streets were crowded with football fans. Everyone was so excited you could feel the energy even from my apartment. It was such a unique experience to watch a major event happening right outside our window. Instead of being in the crowd, we had the perfect view from above. Sometimes the best experiences happen unexpectedly. This evening, we decided to try something I had heard so much about, the Uber boat. Of course, many people actually use riverboats as a form of transportation in London, but for us, it was more about experiencing the city from the water. Honestly, it was one of my favorite evenings in London. We traveled along the river Thames at night. The view was absolutely beautiful. The city lights reflected on the water, the buildings were glowing, the famous landmarks looked completely different after dark. As we passed by Tower Bridge, I couldn't stop looking outside. Seeing that same landmark that impressed me during the daytime, now illuminated at night, was such a magical feeling. The cold was no joke. We wrapped our parents from head to toe, just doing our best to protect them from the UK weather. Then came another completely new experience for me, Tulleys Pumpkin Festival. This was my very first time visiting a pumpkin patch and experiencing Halloween celebrations on this scale. Located at Tulleys Farm in Curly, West Sussex, Tulleys is very known for its seasonal events, especially its famous Halloween attractions and pumpkin festivals. Coming from Sri Lanka, where Halloween is not celebrated in the same way, this was such a unique experience. The moment we arrived, we entered a completely different world. There were pumpkins everywhere, big pumpkins too, small pumpkins, different shapes and colors. So many people choosing pumpkins, taking photos, and enjoying the festive atmosphere. There were also so many decorations, food stalls, and Halloween themed areas, but the most exciting part was the Halloween experience area. The atmosphere completely changed, as you can see here. The lights became darker, the sounds became more dramatic, and suddenly you were surrounded by spooky decorations and scary surprises. It was fun, exciting, and something completely different from anything I had experienced before. For me, it was not just about Halloween, it was about experiencing a different culture and seeing how people celebrate traditions in another part of the world. And finally, it was time for one of the last major places on my UK journey, the Natural History Museum. One day is nowhere near enough. This museum is absolutely incredible. Even before entering, the building itself is breathtaking. The architecture alone makes you stop and admire it. But once you step inside, it feels like entering another world. The Natural History Museum is home to millions of fascinating exhibits covering everything from dinosaurs and animals to human history and the natural world. The first thing that caught my attention was the huge dinosaur skeleton. Standing underneath those massive structures, you suddenly realize just how small humans are compared to the creatures once walked on this planet. The details, the size, the history behind everything. It was amazing. There were also incredible displays of animals, marine creatures, and different parts of our natural world. Every section had something interesting, and honestly, I felt like I could spend days there and still not see everything properly. If you love learning and discovering new things, this place is definitely worth visiting. And just like that, my UK journey is coming to an end. After spending more than 1.5 months in the UK, it was finally time to pack up my memories and head back home. Of course, I didn't capture every single place we visited. There were so many moments where I was simply enjoying the experience rather than recording it. But the clips I did capture are little pieces of memories that I can always look back on. This journey gave me so many beautiful experiences, from arriving in London, reuniting with family, exploring famous landmarks, discovering peaceful villagers, experiencing new cultures, and creating unforgettable memories with my parents and my sister. Now we are watching the final moments of our journey. Looking out of the airplane window, I couldn't help but think about everything this trip gave me. Travel is not just about places, it's about feelings, it's about people, it's about moments that stay with you long after you return. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I hope you enjoyed seeing UK through my eyes, and wherever I travel in the world, Sri Lanka will always be my home. See you in my next video. Bye.